Check 1 2, check 1 2. All right, good morning, everyone. This is meteorologist Grace Thornton here at KVUE News. This is a big day of weather changes. We've already seen some interesting stuff already this morning with a few showers and thunderstorms moving through the area, along with our cold front that, yes, behind it will bring in high winds and very low humidity for the day today. So let's get into our forecast, what we're expecting for the next several hours, because extreme fire danger is actually only going to worsen from here on out, and then get a bit better as we head overnight tonight and into our Wednesday. So what we're looking at right now, of course, Dallas had a wide array of weather this morning. Looking up at our map right now, you can see that low pressure system moving up towards Oklahoma, and of course a lot of that wet weather following suit right behind it. So this weather, it didn't really hit us too hard. We did have a couple of straight line wind issues out towards Leander and areas like Kingsland this morning as our cold front was starting to move on through. Now, thankfully, we're not dealing with much of that anymore. We are mostly dry as we kind of head into the afternoon here. But of course, our cold front pretty close to Austin here. Let's zoom on in and get a closer look. You can see that, yeah, it has pushed most of that moisture out and away from us, and now we are just left with winds to track and dry weather to track. Another just simple note for our Tuesday storm outlook: if you do have friends and family up towards these areas highlighted in our enhanced risks, so that orange and then the yellow is the slight risk there. Much of Dallas, or at least the central and eastern portions of Dallas, has been clipped out of this, as that storm system starts to head off to the north and east. But if you got friends and family all throughout Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, southern areas of Arkansas, even central areas of Arkansas as well, just make sure that they are aware that weather is moving their way for this afternoon and will continue to do so as we head overnight. This storm system is going to move all the way into the East Coast as we head through the day tomorrow. So please, just call up your friends and family, make sure that they are aware of the situation. As for us, we were clipped out of the severe weather situation for this morning. Glad that we were, but we still did see some issues with some structures out towards Kingsland and Leander. Those kind of north and western portions of the hill country did see some issues with straight line winds, but not dealing with that anymore. Now, straight line winds are one thing when thunderstorms come through, but the other thing that we're dealing with is just our regular sustained winds that are moving in behind that front this morning. Let's take a look at that map there. All right, yeah, they are starting to filter on in. 32-mile-per-hour gusts out towards Fredericksburg, 32 for Burnett as well, and 33 out there in Llano. Seeing 32 in San Marcos and almost 40 miles per hour for San Antonio right now. This is the type of weather that is going to continue to become widespread across our area as we head into this afternoon. It's going to take a little bit to get, as widespread as it will become. But of course, you can also see those sustained winds. The numbers in white are already to 20 miles per hour. So even if you're not seeing a gust of 35 miles per hour, you're seeing still sustained winds of 20. So that is certainly breezy, windy, gusty, whatever you want to call it, blustery conditions we can say today. Now let's take a check on the dwindling dew points as well as the relative humidity for today, because as these winds start to get higher and higher, they're bringing in even drier and drier air from the western portions of Texas. So looking at our humidity values for the current moment, we are down to 21% out towards the hill country. Blanco gearing towards that 19%. We're expecting relative humidity values anywhere between 5 and 15% today. That is very dry any way you slice it. And with the addition of high winds, as high as they are going to be across central Texas today, just not a great forecast in regards to wildfire danger. Now, even if we did have significantly less drought than we have out there right now, this would still probably be a wildfire risk across central Texas. The thing that makes it worse and makes it sort of a rare occasion. We haven't really seen a wildfire forecast or risk like this in a couple of years here in central Texas. So the main issue is that we honestly had what's called a flash drought. It basically means that we had many weeks without a single drop of rain. That was September and October of last year. And as we've headed through December, January, February, this past winter came in technically below average. We just didn't get enough rainfall to really help out any drought conditions across our area this past winter, which was something we were hoping for. And unfortunately, it's going to affect actually our bluebonnet blooms for this year. They really do not like the dry weather. They want a lot more moisture. And unfortunately, that's just not what's on the table as we head into March here. So with this cold front coming on through, you can see that we are just really dry for the moment. We're coming even drier minute by minute. You can see that those areas over towards Cameron and Giddings, LaGrange, even Bastrop still sitting at 89% humidity. So that's pretty humid over that way, but they are, those values are going to start to drop in a couple of moments here. Now, I did want to take one little look at our temperatures out there right now, because you'll notice they're not dropping too far. This morning, we were at our warmest temperatures just because we were out ahead of that cold front and we were in that very moist portion of the low pressure system there. But our temperatures are not dropping too much from where they were a few hours ago. Our cold front has already moved through. You can't really tell where the cold front is if you're just looking at the temperature map. It's mostly going to be the juxtaposition of the dry and humid air as well as those gusty winds that are out there. So temperature is pretty comfortable. At least, that's one good part of our forecast for today. Not going to be too cold or too hot out there. Let's take a look at those Texas dew points. Man, Del Rio, you guys are really, really dry right now. Dew points falling down to 10 degrees. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some dew points in the single digits today. Now, the farther away, it's a little bit hard to tell with dew points, just how dry we are. I'll put the camera back on me. Basically, with a dew point, the closer your dew point temperature is to your actual temperature, that just means the air is more and more saturated. The farther those numbers get away from each other, if you have a temperature of 70 and a dew point of 3 degrees, you can tell that that air is just very, very dry. So we are looking at mostly unsaturated air across central Texas right now, and even most of West Texas too. So we're falling down to the 30s. I would say just like a general dry dryness is like usually dew points in the 20s or the 30s. So when you get down to that 10-degree dew point out there in Del Rio, you know things are very, very dry and obviously very, very breezy. Let's take a look at the dew points in our area a little bit closer to town here. We're looking at the 20s out there for the Hill Country, Fredericksburg and Llano, 21-degree dew points, and still dew points in the 50s out towards the coastal plains. So areas like Bastrop, Giddings, LaGrange, Cameron, you guys still probably have another hour or so before your dew points really start to fall off a little bit. All right, let's get to the rest of this forecast as to what we can expect for the rest of this afternoon. Now, wind speeds, we're already seeing this across the Hill Country and portions of the I-35 corridor are starting to see those gusty conditions out there, but between probably noon and about 5 p.m. today, that's when gusts are expected to be the highest and sustain for the longest, most widespread across our area. That's when it will be most impactful for areas of the metro of Austin, as well as out towards the Hill Country and spanning over towards the coastal plains. So anywhere from noon onward, this goes all the way in 8 p.m. 8 to 9 p.m. is when they're going to expire that wind advisory that's out right now, as well as our red flag warning, which a red flag warning is mostly just to make people aware of the fire weather danger. It's kind of just a warning to say, hey, the mix of dryness, the mix of high winds, all the ingredients are coming together for a high fire weather danger forecast. That's what a red flag warning is. Now, just the wind advisory, that's a totally separate thing, just because our winds are exceptionally high for today and will be coming higher as we get into this afternoon. So yeah, if you are uncomfortable driving in high winds, I mean, these are high enough winds to really move your car around as you're driving around town. You can go ahead and stay home for today. I mean, another thing that we want to hone in on is that if a fire were to start under these conditions, it would be extremely hard to contain, and yeah, it just would be a really bad situation. This is one of those forecasts that if something happens, it may become worst case scenario. High winds, very dry air, and of course, on top of our exceptional severe drought that we're dealing with here in Central Texas. So what we want you guys to do is just to be prepared for today. We're talking about go bags. We're talking about just thinking about your potential route out of your neighborhood if you do think that this is something that could affect you today. So again, we've been kind of reiterating that you don't want a ton of brush around you or your property. Honestly, right now, I would say you still got some time to do this. If you're in the central corridor, over towards that east end, if you got some dead leaves in your yard or any hay or anything like that, things that also aren't pinned down in your yard is something major, and you want to be putting those things away, because with wind gusts of 45 to 55 miles per hour today, if you don't have your maybe Easter decorations or Mardi Gras, today's Mardi Gras, if you don't have those decorations pinned down in your yard, they could end up in your neighbor's yard, they could end up a mile down the street. So yeah, make sure you bring in your trash cans today if you haven't already done so, and make sure that those are somewhere secure so they're not blowing all around, because these winds will certainly pick up a lot of debris. And also the National Weather Service was saying in their chat this morning that they do think dust could be an issue as we head into this afternoon, because although we did see rain this morning, it was not nearly enough rain to help mitigate any of these wildfire issues. So preparedness, again, know your evacuation route, know your way around your neighborhood, and kind of where you would go if you would need to evacuate your house if a fire does light up. Again, this morning we haven't had many issues. I think it's more so as we head into the next several hours that we're going to need to pay attention to the potential for wildfire danger or any reports from potential wildfires out there. So they're going to be extremely hard to put out. Again, this we're under a wind advisory right now, but one area that I do want to talk about is Mason County. So why we're stressing the potential for this wildfire danger so much is because a lot of Texas, mostly West Texas, which is even much drier than Central Texas, is under a high wind warning. Lubbock to San Angelo, over towards Del Rio, portions of the Big Bend area, even extending out towards some of those counties over by El Paso. But this also includes Mason County here in, well, we call it a DMA in the news business, but basically we're talking about the K-View viewing area. If we zoom on in, you'll see that our wind alerts, we've got our wind advisory, which is for most of our Central Texas counties, but we also have a high wind warning that is out towards Mason County. And of course, you know, with the high wind warning, this includes Mason County, but we could even see gusts upwards of 55 miles per hour for areas just east of Mason County. So it's possible this could go for Llano or maybe even Gillespie County as well. These types of wind alerts, high wind warnings, are quite rare, and they do not, you know, issue these, you know, willy-nilly. These are the type of high winds that are really detrimental when it comes for wildfire risk. A high wind warning is what was issued before the Pacific Palisades wildfires out there in LA, because they stand for very dry, very windy conditions, and you just definitely want to stay alert as you head into the day today, because that's something that we just don't take lightly here in the meteorology community. So yeah, all across the area we have a high to very high. Well, yeah, here we go. Very high to extreme category for our fire weather danger for our Tuesday. So again, have a plan, have a go bag. Hopefully you packed something up before you headed out to work and school this morning in case you do need to evacuate. I will show you another thing for today, and that's going to be our 7-day. This is the only day, today is the only day that we need to be worried about the potential for wildfire danger. So tomorrow things are going to still be a little bit breezy around town, but they are going to be so much better. We're going to be in the high to moderate category across Central Texas for wildfire danger. Thursday things get a little bit better, and then Friday and Saturday with another cold front coming in, we will have the potential for a few more showers around the area, which of course always is a little bit more helpful. And then we'll be back to really spring like conditions as we head into our Saturday and Sunday. So while today you may feel like we are overdoing it a little bit because really nothing has happened yet in regards to wildfires, this is something that if something does happen, it'll switch completely on a dime. It will be very fast moving. It will be hard to contain, and you may not see it coming out there. So something you need to be prepared for, so you can just kind of be like, you know, kind of wipe the sweat off your brow if something does happen, and you're able to be more, prepared. So again, this extreme fire weather danger. We haven't seen this here in probably about 3 years or so. This is the most extensive and, concerning wildfire forecast that we've had in some time across Central Texas. I do want to take a little look at some of our cameras out there. Let's see, this is our camera over in Westlake Hills. You can see it is shaking around there a bit, and we are seeing, let me see if I can get a little closer look here at Lake Austin. It does look like our winds are causing a bit of some wave action. Not too bad, maybe a little bit choppy out there, but certainly breezy, and you can tell that by just the camera shaking around and plenty of trees shaking around as well. And of course, we'll keep checking back on this camera. This is a great camera in case we do see dust later on today that is expected to be picked up. Another camera that we have up, let's go to our next one. All right, here's the Oasis cam out there in Lake Travis, certainly shaking around as well. You can kind of see those streams across the water there where those high winds are blowing over, but not too bad. Let's take a look at downtown though. I'll be able to switch this over really quick. If we look at downtown, yeah, there we go. Let's zoom on in. Oh, I have to change this first. My apologies. Lots of stuff going on. So yeah, our tower cam, yeah, for the Zach Theater cam, you can actually see this on the Zach Theater if you are ever walking on the Pfluger pedestrian bridge. Certainly blowing around, looks a little bit choppy out on Lady Bird Lake there. Yeah, I would not go paddleboarding today. You're going to be fighting off a lot of wind out there. It's going to be quite an arm workout, so I would not do that. Got a couple of people walking on the Pfluger pedestrian bridge. It does look quite breezy out there though, so oh, we've got one tree really moving around right in the middle there. But yeah, like what we expected, breezes across the area, lots of breezy conditions. Let's take one more check on our current wind flow out there, and then we will get you back. It's almost 10:20 this morning on your Tuesday. All right, about the same as last time we checked. Move you over to max 1 here. About the same, 33 mile per hour gusts in Llano, 32 in Fredericksburg, 32 in Burnett. I actually want to take a check on one other thing. We also have a current wind speeds for a larger portion of Texas. We'll call it that. You can see just how high those winds are. Oh my gosh, look at San Angelo. 51 mile per hour gust out there, 49 for Del Rio, 40 for Eagle Pass and down towards Uvalde, 45 miles per hour. You can see also, kind of hard to spot with just the naked eye, but this is where our cold front is now. Right along those eastern portions of Texas where those, see all of our winds coming out of the west right now across central Texas and portions of west Texas. And then we still have that southeasterly wind coming in from the other side. So this is where our cold front is. There also are some breezy winds along that cold front, but that's not the dry westerly wind that is bringing in our high fire danger for today. That's actually already moving over portions west of us. So west of Mason County, high wind flow and dry air. So that's what we're watching for today. Thankfully, I haven't heard anything from the newsroom that anything has popped up yet this morning. So that is good news. So please make sure that you've got your evacuation at least in your head if you do have to evacuate your neighborhood, if there is a wildfire that does affect your region later on today or sometime today. Other things to just note, there are burn bans all across central Texas today. It is illegal to be burning things on your property. Also, make sure that you're pinning down any debris in your yard, making sure you're cleaning up any of that brush around or dry leaves, things like that. Just make sure that your property is prepped, because if it is not and things start to go awry, it will turn bad very quickly. This again is an extreme wildfire danger for all of central Texas today. We're already seeing things moving in, high winds, low humidity. All the characteristics are there for an extreme wildfire danger today. And if one spark lights up out there, it could be detrimental for a lot of our communities and neighborhoods out there. I know does seem a little bit extreme, and it is extreme, but it's better to be prepared now and just, be able to go about your day with a little bit more safety in mind, or at least peace of mind out there. So I'm going to hop off as we head into the next couple of minutes here, and we will see you at midday. So that's in about another 40 minutes at 11 a.m. We will certainly be seeing these maps light up once more. High winds, low humidity, all that good stuff. And we'll continue to give you guys preps and tips on what to be doing throughout the day so that you can mitigate any issues with the wildfire risk out there. Check.